Hi, I'm Colin, and today we're going to go over how to build a column. The first step in building a column is going to be like any other hardscape project, and that's going to be design. Now, the design aspect is relatively simple for building a column. We mainly have to pick our placement for the column, as well as a width and overall height, and if there's any extra function to it, whether we're tying walls into it, or maybe putting a gate on it. Those are all contributing factors to the type of column we're going to want to build. Now, for our particular column in this project, we're building a 20-inch outside diameter column, and we want to achieve about a 48-inch overall height with our Chateau Moderna 300mm, which is basically an 8x12 block. Using 4 of these per course, we will again create a 20-inch outside diameter and then build it up to our desired height. So in our design, it is calling for a 20-inch column to be about 12 inches away from both of these absolute edges here. We have the driveway and the sidewalk. So all you have to do is measure, and you can make a mark with some white marking paint so you can outline that area. But because we traditionally want gravel past the edge of our column or any hardscape project, we're actually going to dig about 6 inches away from both these edges to have gravel all the way around. And we are digging for a 20-inch column, but with 6 inches wrapped around it, we're going to have about a 32-inch by 32-inch square completely padded with gravel for our column to sit on top of. With our layout in mind, we can move on to the next step, which is excavation. For this particular project, we're going to dig out about 12 inches below grade so that we have 6 inches of embedment of that column and 6 inches of compacted gravel below that to have a nice firm base for it to sit on. With this hillside here, it's going to be a little challenging to establish that grade to get our 12 inches from. Once we start digging things around and moving it, we'll be able to have a nice reference to measure. We finished our excavation and ensured that we are 12 inches below grade, and we removed all loose dirt to reduce the chance of settling later on. Now we can move on to step 4, which is going to be gravel base. We're going to be doing a total of about 6 inches of 3/4 minus crushed gravel. We're just going to make sure that we hand tamp that in 2-inch lifts to ensure proper compaction. If we could fit a larger piece of compaction equipment in here, we sure would, but we can't. You'll also notice through this process that we are plumbing it loosely with some conduit. That way, if this homeowner ever wants to add some lights later on to this column, they can very easily. If you're not doing lighting now or ever, just continue on without plumbing for conduit. After we finished and bringing in our gravel base, we made sure everything was tight and compact, and we can move on to step 5, which is going to be setting our base course of block. This is arguably the most important course because you have to set each block individually perfectly level in order to continue your pillar to be level after that. All we're going to do is take our mallet and our level, set the block in each direction, level both ways, and then continue on in a clockwise or counterclockwise fashion, creating a square outside diameter and a small square in the middle. And then after we're finished with that, we can continue gluing and stacking our subsequent courses. With our base course set and level, we can move on to the next step, which is going to be gluing and stacking our subsequent courses. We're looking for about a 48-inch overall height here, including our capstone, so we're going to stack block until we get close to that to add our cap later on. The main thing you want to think about is the type of adhesive you use. We like to use Surebond 20. It's a flexible adhesive. If you're in a freeze-thaw climate and you want that flexibility so things don't separate when you have freeze-thaw, this works great. You only really need about a few dime-sized dollops in the corners of your block. You don't need a lot of glue. This is a freestanding column. And then you want to make sure you offset your pattern every course with these 4 blocks to create as much interlock as possible for structurability. On top of that, it is most aesthetically pleasing when you make sure that your sides are level up and down and square all around to make it look neat and tidy. We finished stacking our subsequent courses, so now all we have to do is put our post cap on. We don't need a lot of glue for this because this post cap weighs about 145 pounds. Just make sure you put the glue in the same orientation as you did for the rest of the column to allow drainage and breathability to reduce moisture issues. Now that we've glued and placed our cap, the only thing we have to do left to finish this column is cover the bottom end that we exposed with some landscape material, whether it's dirt we dug out or some bark dust to pretty up a little bit, and it's completely finished. If you want to learn more projects you can do by yourself in the hardscaping world, visit our website, westerninterlock.com, or our YouTube channel, Western Interlock.